Mark, just looking back on the game against Widnes, a hard-fought win in the end, but again, another game where you got the right result.
Yeah, I thought Widnes completely beat us to the punch that first 20 minutes. I thought they played really well. I thought we just lacked any urgency. You know, I was really disappointed with the tries, but at the same time, I was really proud of the character that we showed to turn it around. You know, I wouldn't say relaxed, that's probably the wrong word, but I knew that we'd not kicked into gear yet, and when we did kick into gear, I thought we looked really good. I think Sunday though it'll be a different ball game altogether. We can't afford to start like that against a team of Featherston's quality, and you know, we need to make sure we've learned his lesson in that sense.
Yeah, 18-0 down, but you turned it around, scored 36 unanswered points. What was the catalyst for the turnaround, do you think?
Good question. I think everyone knew that we'd not started the best, and I think the composure that we showed was literally just exactly what we needed. It were a case of, listen, we know we've not done what we needed to do, let's just go about as business. And I think how we did, I think we were at pretty much 100% completion for a 15-minute period, just where we're, you know, grinding back into gear. And you know, when you've got players such as Liam Harris, Paul McShane, Aringano, Ben Jones, Bishop, you know, they're going to make things happen, aren't they? And they certainly did that. Yeah,
you mentioned Ben Jones Bishop, his first half hat-trick as well. That's exactly what you needed to get you back into the game. But how delighted were you for him to get that after obviously being left out at Wembley and then left out last week as well against Bradford?
Yeah, I was laughing and joking with the coaches actually when I'd obviously made that call to go with Brownie instead of Bish, and then obviously when we decided we were going to go with Bish, said watch it, he'll score a first half hat-trick as a bit of a, you know, this is what you're missing out on, and so we did. But yeah, as I said, we're in a pretty blessed position at the moment that we've got Scott, Joe and Bish that are all, you know, high quality wingers, and it's great to see, you know, I'm in this sort of form, and you know, Kieran Buchanan goes unnoticed a lot on that right side, but he's been doing a lot of unselfish work that's helped Brownie and also helped Bish, and yeah, just real happy with you know, with Bish as a person, not only for what he does on the field. I think that's evident for all to see, but I thought he spoke really well before the cup final. He speaks very well in the back five review every week. You know, offers some really good insights, and also he can't do enough for anyone else, including, you know, Brownie, and I just think he's a real good professional and person to have around the team, so really delighted we've got him back.
Three very different finishes, and I think maybe the second try, the one where he takes the ball under pressure from the high kick, was maybe the best of those. Yeah. But as well, you mentioned the work that Kieran Buchanan did. Ben Jones Bishop provided the assist for his try in the end as well. So he's, you know, there's plenty of a sort of interchange there as well.
Yeah, I think it was the second one when Kieran flicked it out the back door. I think he could have gone himself there, but I think he'd pre-planned in his head that he were doing a bit of a giddly flick. So. We had a nice little joke about that on video, but yeah, they've got some great synergy between them. Exactly what you want between a centre and wing partnership. I think Kieran and Joe, or Kieran and Bish, as it were, on the weekend, they're building some good relationships, and then I think Liam Harris runs that right hand side, especially when we're attacking that edge really well. So yeah, still loads more that I feel we can get after, if I'm honest with you. You know, and that's what these next few months are all about. Just you know, trying to get to them next levels in terms of his partnership and how we gel it.
You mentioned Joe Brown, obviously missing out and having to bide his time potentially to get back into the squad. It's quite a fortunate position for you as a coach, bit of a headache for Brownie, but how does he go about getting back into the squad? Is it just about getting his head down in training?
Yeah, exactly what Bish did. You know, Bish will have been, and rightly so, disappointed he didn't get that chance at Bradford. Brown is he's a seasoned pro, and how he's gone about his business is exactly how you'd expect. He's took it on the chin. Obviously, you can't say that he's happy. No one's happy when they're not playing, but he's gone about it by rolling his sleeves up and training really hard and making sure that you know, when that chance comes, and it will come, that he takes it again.
8th win in a row in all competitions. It seems like momentum's sort of rolling with you a bit at the moment, but it also seems like your squad are now benefiting from that experience. They know what it takes to win a game. How important do you think that's going to be coming down the stretch?
Yeah, it's always nice, isn't it? And I think, as I said, like, it's great headlines for you boys. We just live week by week. excuse me, one thing that you will get is teams will want to knock you off your perch. Any team that's gaining some momentum obviously naturally attracts headlines, and if you're opposition coaches, you want to be, you know, that team that kind of nips that in the bud and takes the team off the perch, as I said. So the challenge for us now is every team's are going to raise their game against you. We've got a target on us back. You know, it's a privileged position to be in and one that we want to be in, and you know, every team's going to put that extra 10-20% in, as I said, to make sure that they stop that winning run. So we've just got to make sure that we don't get carried away with that. As I said, I thought we learned a valuable lesson in that first 20 minutes against Widnes. I thought they were outstanding. You know, their energy, their enthusiasm, the shape that they were executing were really good, and I thought we just lacked that little bit of urgency to match that. So you know, there's things like that we can go after that I think is really important. You can't forget what gets you wins in the first place, and the basics of any team sport is making sure that you win in them effort-based areas. And as I say, I thought it was a valuable lesson for us on Sunday that you know, if you do go dipping your toe in, then you're going to get burnt pretty badly.
Have said the last couple of games that you still feel like there's more to come from this team. There are more gears to go through. How do you go about chasing that without, as you said, forgetting about where you've sort of come from and how you've got there in the first place?
I think naturally you're always looking for improvement. I still feel we're at about a 5 out of 10, if I'm honest with you, and I know the players feel the same. If I felt that the players were you know, at their capacity, I'd be having a different conversation with you, but I genuinely don't feel that, and the players don't feel that. Most importantly, everyone still knows that there's more in us. We're not happy with where we're at. Ultimately, you know, you've got Toulouse and Bradford in front of you. We want to be sat where they're sat. Obviously, there's teams below us that want to be in them spots too. You know, as proven in the cup final, Featherston are a great team. You know, they've got a great spine in Aikins, Rocky and Ben Reynolds, and then you've got Jubby and Jones coming on off the bench, you know, and Addy at 13. That's a great spine. So we know that, you know, if we're not at the races, they can burn us pretty hard, and they'll be wanting to avenge a cup final loss. It's a big game in terms of it can springboard them into the positions that everyone thought they were going to be in at the start of the year. So they're a very dangerous team. So we've just got to make sure that we focus on ourselves and you know, get them standards where we want to be.
Yeah. As you mentioned, it's the first meeting since you faced them in that Wembley final. They're going to be probably out for a bit of revenge. But you know, it's when you look at the head-to-head so far this season, I guess it's 1-1. You've come out in maybe the most important of those two fixtures. But how do you look ahead to Sunday's matchup?
I think it's. Yeah, we obviously went 16-0 up at their place and lost a close fought game there, and then in the cup final it was another close affair, wasn't it, that could have gone either way. You know, big games won in big moments, and I know Cookie has spoken about that with his squad, about how they can be a little bit better there. We know where we needed to be better, and listen, we're expecting a very close contest with a team that'll be, you know, rightly so, having their own ambition on having a crack at the championship this year. So it's sort of game you get excited for, and we're just looking forward to it, you know, and enjoy coaching against Cookie. As I said, very smart coach, very dangerous team. You know, we're a dangerous team too, so you know, may the best team win on the day.
Yeah. In the build up to the Wembley game, Paul Cook had spoken about, because the two teams and the two coaches, you and him, know each other so well, maybe doing things a bit differently, maybe pulling a rabbit out the hat, maybe there being a couple of surprises. Are you expecting Featherston to do anything differently going into this game? Yeah,
listen, his attention to detail was great, and as you saw in the final when they tried shifting off that kick-off, they'd obviously spotted that we got a little bit too tight, you know, and they felt they could get us there. Cookie's always looking for them little things, but you know, so are we. There were a couple of areas we felt we could have been better at exploiting them, and as I say, it's not as much the trick plays, it's making sure you nail the 80 minutes as well, you know. So we know we need to, as systems are going to get tested, we know as defence needs to be on point. They've got some very dangerous players, But likewise, they'll have to do the same because we've got some very dangerous players too, and we're just got to make sure that we don't get carried away. As you said, there's a lot of smoke getting blown up everyone's backside at the moment with wins and things like that, and it's great. But ultimately, it means nothing if you don't deliver on a week by week basis. So. We're filthy that we went 18-0 down. We're really proud that we turned it around, but we want to be a team that prides itself on its consistency and being a tough team to beat, and we're definitely going to get tested on Sunday, and it's one that we're all looking forward to.
We were denied maybe the open expansive game due to the weather conditions at Wembley that a lot of us wanted to see. With the forecast set fair this weekend, I think it's meant to be about 29-30 degrees on Sunday.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the type of match that we will see, open expansive?
I don't know, it depends how the game unfolds. Both teams like to move the ball about for sure. Naturally it depends how the circumstances unfold, but I think what you'll see on Sunday is both teams wanting a tough defence. Naturally both teams will be trying to play their expansive brand of rugby. I think Featherston play a nice brand. I think Addy controls the middle really well. I think any quick rucks you're going to see Jones straight out of there, and I think Rocky and Ben Reynolds are building a great partnership, so they're going to be looking at exploiting us where they feel they can. But likewise, we like a dry track. If we've got Atta, Liam, Maka, Toa, and Geordie out there, it's just as dangerous as what I've just described on the opposition, isn't it? So for a neutral fan, it's definitely got all the makings for a great game, and we're just focusing on where we can look at a zone game and improve, and where we can get some joy in Featherston.
We've just had a quick look out the window. The track looks pretty good here. The pitch has been relayed, I understand, at the LNER. So how much are you enjoying potentially getting out on that at some point? Yeah,
it looks really nice. It looks really lush, doesn't it? So there's 4 or 5 groundsmen out there as we speak, just making sure the surface is first class. So just looking forward to being back in front of his own fans. Obviously we've had a couple of weeks away. We've had a tough game at Bradford, then another tough one at Widnes. So can't thank the fans enough for how they've got behind us in them 2 games, and hopefully they'll get back behind us in numbers here, and we can make it a real good atmosphere as well.
You mentioned the heat. Does that present its own sort of issues? Having to maybe manage the players' minutes, look after them, make sure they're hydrated, that sort of thing. Naturally there's the performance side of things, like in terms of hydration, making sure you feel right, but ultimately we're a team that tries to pride itself on as fitness, so we'd rather be playing in 25-30 degree than it belting it down like it were at Wembley. So it is what it is. You just want your players to be in a condition that, regardless of the conditions, you can go out and play the same brand of rugby, don't you? So looking ahead at your team news, how are your squad looking ahead of Featherston? I guess maybe the place to start is Taylor Pemberton, and update on that ankle injury. Yeah, he's getting scanned today, but it's not looking the best, if I'm honest with you. I definitely think it will be a 1 or 2 week job. Hopefully it's more of a 4 to 6 weeker than anything else, but we'll have to wait for that scan to come back. Jesse should be all right. We've got a specialist appointment with him just to check his thumb over. I can't remember who else got injured in that game. I think that was it, wasn't it? I think that was it. You mentioned Taylor Pemberton, and that'll be such a frustrating one for him. He's had to maybe bide his time over the last 6 weeks, gets his opportunity, and then pop goes the ankle. How disappointed are you for Taylor, and how hard has he had to work to get this shirt?
He's worked really hard, and as I said, I challenged him on 1 or 2 areas in his game, and I've got to commend him how he's gone about his business. Really pleased with him, and it was a well-earned opportunity, and just really gutted for him in that sense. But that's sport, isn't it? And it can be cruel at times. We'll make sure we look after him. We get him back rehabbed and fit, and knowing Taylor how I do, he'll be chomping at the bit to do it all again, and then another opportunity. But I think with Taylor, and he's still a young man that's got a great future in front of him, and sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind, and players want to play every week, but ultimately my job's to bring out the best in each individual and the team, and sometimes you've got to have them honest conversations with people that are going to take the game to that next level. And Taylor's gone about his business, great in absorbing that information.
Rested Sam Cook to give Taylor that opportunity, so ready-made. I'm guessing he gets back involved in the matchday squad, and he hasn't really missed a game, I don't think, since the start of the season. So how will he have benefited from that rest week off?
Well, we'll find out on Sunday, won't we? But it's a tricky one, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not a massive fan of resting players and all that, but I'm also not stupid, and I know it's a long season, so sometimes you get a natural feel, and I just felt Taylor had gone about training really well over 4 or 5 weeks, and Cookie, I just felt it were a good week to give him that week off. I mean, ultimately, we can say it was the right call because we got the win, but at the same time, if we'd have got a loss, you start asking them questions, don't you? So well, if there's a natural chance, someone carrying a niggle and someone else has been training their house down, it's a great chance to rotate slightly. But whenever you're on a bit of a winning streak, you want to ride that wave while you can, don't you?
I was going to say, it's a fine balance, isn't it, between tinkering with the squad but also keeping players on the cusp, ready that if an injury does happen, that someone's ready to sort of step up. Yeah,
that's it. And it's a different sort of dynamic for myself as a coach. I'm used to having a reserve team or an academy team where you can drop some of your younger end into there. So I'm still learning myself in that sense, if I'm honest with you. And I know Clint and the team's working really hard to get that rectified long term, but ultimately, selfishly, I've got to do my job as head coach and make sure that we get wins. But I also, part of coaching is helping people develop, and rugby players only develop by playing games, don't they? So longer term, we're trying to make sure that regardless if they're playing for our first team, that there's going to be a playing opportunity to play in our reserve team in some format as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Jesse D getting assessed with his thumb. Could he potentially play a part could he have played a part last weekend? Will you just be kind of managing that and being careful?
Jesse put his hand up to play. We're just being cautious until we've seen the specialist. But Jesse will be in the matchday squad for that. So we're just waiting, as I said, on some specialist news. But Jesse's, is a tough bugger. He keeps on putting his hand up, and he's good to go. If he said he'll play if we need him to play.
Jacob Gannon also returned to the starting lineup. How did he go for you?
Yeah, it were his first big minutes for a while, wasn't it? So it'll be a lot better for that. Again, with Gano, you forget he's still a young man learning his craft. So I thought his work rate were excellent. Obviously, 1 or 2 areas like all of us in that first 20 where we can chase some wins, but it'll be a lot better for getting that game under his belt.
And just finally from me, a word on some of the longer term injuries. I think Will Dagger still at least a week away, but I'm guessing there's no great need to rush him back with the options that you've got in that back three. Yeah,
Dags should be integrated into full training within the next week or two, and then it's just a case of building him back up. So I'd presume mid-July he should be available for selection or around then. Mitch Clark will be back available for selection now. He's classed as fully fit. Bailey Antrobus is due to start full contact next week. So again, he should be within the end of July, I believe. He's got to have a 4-week period. I don't want to miss anyone out here. Am I missing any injuries?
I think you've got everyone there.
Yeah.
But I guess that all kind of builds, quite nicely when you look at some of the fixtures that you've got coming the back end of July. You've also, I think, got Toulouse coming in August as well. So there's some big games coming there with some big players potentially returning.
I think they're all big games now. I mean, if you look at, I always said at the start of the year, when you get to roughly that halfway mark, who's going to be there or thereabouts. And as we all said, I think there's genuinely 9 teams there that are all vying for 6 playoff spots, and I'd say out of them 9, probably 6 are probably eyeing up, going even further than that and putting the name in there to challenge Toulouse for that top spot. So it's a great league to coach in, and really enjoying every single week. You've got to be on the money, and it's just great fun in terms of testing your ability as a coach and obviously as a playing group. And I don't think there's any game that you can take lightly, any game whatsoever. So where we're not getting too carried away with what's happening 6 weeks down the line. All we worry about, as cliche as I say every week and as boring as I sound, is Featherston. And once we've dealt with Featherston, we'll move on to the next game.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Just a few questions from me, Mark. Listening to Alan Coleman's interview after the Widnes match, he mentioned that he felt the game was in their control completely until they had, I think it was 3 injuries in the space of just a couple of minutes, really. In particular, losing Tom Gilmore as well. How much of an effect do you think that had on the outcome of the match?
I think Alan, naturally, if shoes were on other foot, I'd be saying that it's affected us, but I don't think it were outstanding play that undid us. I think it were more our sloppiness that cost us 3 tries. I think Tower obviously spilt a catch that you'd back him 9 out of 10 times to take. I thought we were sloppy at markers when Jordan Johnson went through. And then we obviously conceded a try after that. I thought that were pretty poor play from us, and I thought the other one was just completely switched off on the wrong side of the ruck and lacked any urgency. So you've got to give credit to Widnes for nailing their opportunities, but I thought they were all pretty easy, preventable tries at the same time. So yeah, I can see why Alan's aggrieved by it. As I say, I think Widnes are a great team, and losing, your 9, your 7, one of your star centres or fullback, as Owens is too, it's going to affect any team. But I also thought they were really gritty and resilient right through to the end. So they're in a pretty good spot in terms of the team spirit and character. And he's a great coach, is Alan. And once he does get a few bodies back, there'll be still now there'll be a challenge for any team.
And talking of injuries, how is Taylor Pennington doing? Obviously, he's had to work hard to get back to the team, and then to come back and get injured, he must be pretty annoyed about the entire situation. Have you had the chance to speak to him and see how he's doing? Yeah,
I spoke to him last night. He's in a protective boot up until he gets the scan. It's one of them. You're probably annoyed as soon as it happens, but there's no point holding on to that anger. It's been and gone. There's no point getting yourself twisted in knots about it. You've just got to accept the reality of the situation and put a plan in place. So once we've got a scan, we know the extent of the injury, you can then start reverse engineering a return to play, can't you? So just as I say, it's a stinger, and unfortunately it's a part of the sport that's never going to go away, because it's a pretty brutal sport in that sense. So it's just important from a club point of view and a coaching point of view that we put an arm around Taylor and make sure he's got everything he needs to feel mentally and physically as well as he can.
With Featherston up next, obviously you only played him about, I think it was 3 weeks ago now in the 89 Cup final. Can you take much from that, or is it sort of its own entity, with it being a big cup final at Wembley? Can you really take much from that match for this encounter? Yeah,
I think there's loads you can take from any time you play an opposition. We're aware of their strike players. We're aware of what they're about as a team, just as they will be with us. Naturally, they turned around a 16-point deficit last time we played them in the league. Obviously, we managed to get the win over them in the final. So, the scoreline suggests it's 2 pretty evenly matched teams, isn't it? And it's about making sure that you nail the 80 minutes on the day. Every time you play a game of rugby, it's going to be different, but teams have certain trends that they're going to do, and it's just important you match them trends and put your own strikes on when you can.
Last thing from me, I know you mentioned to Pete a few minutes ago that your senior team is they're at 5 out of 10 right now from where they could be.
Yeah.
11 games left to go this season, including Featherston. What do you want to see from your players, to get higher up that, I suppose that tally that you've got for yourself and for the team?
Just the areas we speak about internally that we know that we're not hitting straps on yet, just chasing them wins. We won't be getting carried away with yourself. It's great, and rightly so, the lads have earned some great headlines from people such as yourself, but we definitely won't be reading too much into that. As I say, there's certain area of us game that we're still filthy with. We feel we can be a lot better in, and it's really important over these next 10-11 games that we get them where they need to be, because they're going to have to be there to get the wins that we need to achieve what we want to achieve.